Absolutely, you're right. And if you walk by the bilingual teachers room as well, you'll
Yes.
hear all us
Yeah.
teachers. Yes. So we are loud.
Hi, welcome back everyone. This is the newest episode of the Europe 2000 High School, and now I'm here with Hunter, a bilingual teacher, and we will talk a little bit about his life, his perspectives on living in America versus Hungary, and a lot more. So let's get started. Hunter, could you tell me a bit about your life? Because I have heard it has been very interesting.
Well, I'll give you kind of a shorter version of it. I was born in New York City. My dad was the general manager of the Plaza Hotel in New York. I then moved to Boston, I moved to Mexico City, then Boston and LA. I went to high school in Guadalajara, Mexico, and then moved back to the United States. I went to Arizona State University. I got my bachelor's in fine arts and photography. And then moved out to Texas for a little bit, but I started my own DJ company. I've been a DJ for over 30 years, and then, and of course, I did some real estate as well.
That's really interesting, and like the U.S. and Mexico, those are two very different words. So how did you adjust to that? How did you come to?
To adjust, yeah. I mean, you're right, because I'm, especially at that age, going to high school, a lot of culture shock and things like that. I was just fortunate, I went to a good school, surrounded with some good friends that helped me get through some of that stuff. But I kind of liked it. It was not as, let's say, as structured as the United States.
Yeah.
And I really did. I really enjoyed that, and of course, that's why I went back. Later on, after I finished school, I went back to teach in Mexico, and that's where I started because I loved it.
So did you see all the drug things go around in Mexico and stuff like that? I mean, that's all Mexico is about, no?
Yeah, I guess nowadays it is. But back when I was, there wasn't as prevalent. It was a lot safer. It was, I don't want to get into too much detail, of course, but it was more organized, I should say. So it was not as dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. And I would like to come back to that teaching because, as you said you have done it in the past. And what motivated you to become a teacher again? Or to become a teacher at all? Why would you want to do that?
I was in the United States, and I was doing my DJing and real estate at the same time. And I got very sick. I was in the hospital, in and out of the hospital for a couple of years. And one time I was in the hospital, and I kind of was trying to figure out what I really wanted to do. And ideally, I wanted to move back to Mexico. That was like my ultimate goal. And so I was trying to figure out a way how to have that happen. So what I thought was one of the easiest solution was to start teaching. So I went down to Mexico and got my visa and started working, and I quickly found out that something that I thought was going to be easy, first of all, was not very easy, but I actually really loved doing it. I loved talking with students. I loved hanging out with them. I liked going into the classroom. I felt like I was contributing more as opposed to like when doing real estate and DJ.
Yeah.
I felt like I was being more helpful. So it was almost like an accident that I started teaching, but it was something I really fell in love with. And I think, you can ask my students that they know I like what I do.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, that it looks like you like this job,
of course.
and you are satisfied with it, so that's great. You mentioned that you were also a DJ, so how did that influence your life?
Well, I started DJing when I was in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, in there. And this was, in the 80s. So, a lot of the DJs, Jam Master Jay, Grandmaster Flash, a lot of those people were popular. But DJing at that point in rap music was more inner city. And I was, like a suburban boy on the, just spinning. So I was one of the few kids that was into DJing and started DJing. Then I started doing high school parties and things like that. And I was in, 8th grade doing that and getting paid. So it started kind of off in that direction. When I went to Mexico for high school, I didn't DJ as much and things like that. So it really didn't have as much of an impact kind of in my high school, university, as it did kind of at the beginning, you know, more
Yeah,
like
definitely.
6th, 7th grade. And then, of course, when I got older and started my company. So.
Yeah, I mean, getting money when you are an 8th grader for doing what you love, I mean, that's like you won the lottery. So
Absolutely, yeah. You walk out with money, a big, little wad of money in your pocket, and everyone's like, "Wait, what happened here?" Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, while everyone is spending daddy's and mommy's money, you are spending your own. That's really great, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you started your own DJ company. So how did that all came to life? Could you tell us about a bit of the process?
Wow. There's some things I can talk to about. I started with a DJ company. I was actually working. I was just kind of DJing part time in Texas, and then they needed a DJ out in Arizona, so I moved out to Arizona. So I was kind of juggling those two things, and I quickly realized that a lot of the hotels and a lot of the clients that I had were requesting me more than they were requesting the company. So I knew that I was like, okay, well, if I'm in demand, then maybe I need to start doing my own thing. Yeah. And so that's what I ended up doing. And so I became a preferred vendor of two, three really big hotels in Tucson, Arizona. And so they knew me. They didn't really know the company as much. And so when I started my business, it was really easy to kind of transition. So I went from marketing somebody else's company to marketing myself. And so I just kind of changed just the mentality of it in general.
And how did you market yourself? How did you do the marketing yourself, or did you have any help with that?
Absolutely not. And it was actually really interesting. I didn't have to do any marketing because business was coming from referrals. People who had me DJ a party, or a company that had another party, and they were like, "Oh, well, you were here last year. Can you come this year?" So it was really just referral. I had a website. I designed my website myself. Just to have like a web presence.
Definitely. That helps a lot.
Yeah. And it's something for me to steer clients towards. Oh, check out my website, and then you can fill out the form, and then I have your information, and I'll contact you, and this and this. So so it was that's all I really did, and I did a couple of like fairs or conventions and stuff, but really I didn't need to do any of that stuff. I just had a Facebook page. And then of course my website, but really I did nothing, no advertising or anything.
That's really interesting how you just became popular just like this, and then I mean it's really good.
Yeah. Well, and it didn't happen just like that.
I wish. I mean, like.
It took a while, but really when I started realizing that they were requesting me and they weren't just looking for the company, that's when I was like, okay, well then I just need to start doing my own thing. Yeah,
and it was just. You went after your head, or did you have any help with that, or you were just totally on your own and then?
Completely on my own.
That's really crazy.
Just kind of had to figure it out on my own, and it was and I mean I just I took some examples from the people that I worked for before, right?
Definitely.
Like for example, if somebody wants something done at a big event. If it's going to happen 3 or 4 months out, you say, yes, of course I can do that. Well, you have 3 or 4 months to figure it out, right? So you agree to everything, and then you figure out how to do it. So those were some things that I learned as well.
And would you have any advice for if anyone has an idea of starting their own company in Europa or something? Would you have any advice for them? Like how should they start?
It really depends the kind of business. But yeah, you have to have a passion. You have to enjoy it, really.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I mean, it was you're DJing, you're going to parties, you're making somebody's day special. I mean, it was really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you really have to enjoy doing it. But really, just get motivated. I really what it started with was just starting the company, like the legal process. So I got an LLC, and then once I did that, then I was able to open up a bank account in the company's name. All right, so now I have money that I can pull in and a company name, and so those are the small things that you start off with. And then as things grow, well, then you have to adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, it just is more professional if you go to a person and say, oh yeah, make the check out to so-and-so corporate company,
definitely.
as opposed to saying, oh, make the check out to Hunter Niederhauser. And then, really, I mean, it's that perspective that they get.
Yeah, and you also mentioned you worked in real estate. Was that like your own business, or did you join a real estate company?
Yes. Really, anytime you get into real estate, you are your own company, basically. But you work for a broker, so you have like a brokerage person who takes care of all like the errors and omission insurance and a lot of the paperwork and stuff like that. I was doing bank foreclosed properties, and let's just say I wouldn't do it again.
Enough.
Yeah, I'm happy doing this, what I'm doing here. No,
definitely.
it was, and I was working long hours, and I was working long days, and then you were DJing on the weekend, and so everything starts catching up to you pretty quickly, and you start realizing that you miss things, like your life, like really, really, you work, and you start forgetting that you should work to live, not live to work.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So that was kind of something that I had to kind of get in my brain, and then, but once I got, like when I told you, when I was sick and I moved on from that, I was able to kind of refocus and really pursue what I really wanted to do.
Yeah, so you've been teaching ever since then.
Yeah, pretty much so. Yeah.
That's really great. I mean, I think you have come a long way. I mean, I didn't know you before, but that's definitely like 10 years of experience, or how much?
Yeah, over 10 years now, because it's 5 years in Morocco, 5 years here, and then the 3 or so in Mexico. So yeah, over 10 years.
That's really crazy. That's a lot of experience.
Yeah, no, it is crazy, and it's what's great is also seeing my students. Like students that I started, and as they get older and they start becoming parts of society, they start working and going into the real world. It's that's the exciting part of it.
Oh, they grow up so fast.
Actually, you do, and everybody here. It's like I get you for a very small part of your life. I only get you for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys think, oh, this 4 years, it's the end of the world, and I get a 1 on a test, I'm going to be killed, and this is all temporary. This is all just, you're just here for 4 years, and I just I love being part of the 4 years.
Yeah,
watching you guys, really watching you guys succeed and fail and cry and celebrate and doing. I mean, really, this whole roller coaster. It's so exciting. It's fun to watch. Really, it is.
Oh, that's really nice to hear. That's really interesting. That's your perspective on teaching.
Yeah, it is.
So you have actually moved around a lot, as you said, from the U.S. to Mexico, and now you are here in Hungary. How come you choose Hungary, and how do you like it? What are the differences you see? So these are a lot of questioning.
Yeah. This is, and I don't think it's going to be an easy answer, but I mean, I was in Morocco for 5 years beforehand, and I was teaching there. And my wife and I did a lot of traveling in Europe and stuff. And after 5 years, we decided to move, but we didn't really know where to. So we kind of we talked to each other, where did we enjoy, what cities were fun, and Budapest was on a very short list that we had. Started applying and doing that kind of stuff, and next thing you know, here I am. So it kind of, it's just one of those things that happens. As far as how I like it here and all of that stuff and how long, and I mean, we really enjoy it. We like the public transportation, the food. It's a beautiful city. The people we've met, all those things are just what keeps us here.
Yeah.
So hopefully we don't have any plans on leaving, and hopefully we'll stick around for a while.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting, because as a Hungarian, as someone who comes from Budapest, it is hard for me to imagine wanting to stuck here. For me, example, I want to go out. I want to live everywhere but here, and hearing these positive things is really exciting. But I think you think the same way about America or something, or New York maybe.
Yeah, actually, the crazy thing about the United States is even if you try to make comparisons with Hungary, you kind of have to ask what part of the United States, right? Because I lived in Arizona, and that's significantly different than than let's say Massachusetts or in that area. And that being said, I really see like a lot of similarities to the East Coast, weather-wise, the nature and how it looks, as well as the city, the architecture. It's very similar, to some of those cities like Boston. So I don't see it as very different at all.
That's really crazy, because I have just been to the U.S., to New York actually, and it was not really different for me, but there was a significant gap between Budapest and New York. Of course, New York is 100 times bigger, but I would say the people there are more strange to me than here in Hungary. So, do you have maybe any comments on that? So, like the people.
Well, New Yorkers are a very interesting breed of person. To begin with, you will see nobody on the planet that is like a New Yorker. So, and then of course, but you'll see those same kind of differences in the United States. So if you go to Los Angeles, they'll be a lot different than New York, and it'll be a lot different than, let's say, somebody from Miami. So you will see those different things. Really, I like the people here in Hungary. Like I said, everyone's been very friendly. Now, when you said they're strange in New York, what do you mean by that?
Strange. They were strange for me because they were so much more kinder than here in Hungary.
Really, New Yorkers were kinder than Hungarians? Okay.
That's what I experienced at least. I think they were more outgoing, but that's just, I think, an American trait in general.
Yes.
So if you look at Americans and then you look at not Londoners, English people, then they are going to be so different with interacting people, with being open-minded and stuff like that. That's what I said by saying that they were more strange to me, because they were so much more outgoing. For example, in Hungary. But what do you think about that?
Oh, I totally agree with you. It's very weird. You're right. It's like you go into a store here and they say good morning or good afternoon, and then they just kind of leave you alone. But there they're talking and you have talks, and you're talking to somebody next to you in store, and you're you're right. There is definitely that difference. But I'm okay with people not talking to me. I'm alright with that.
It was so strange to me. Then me and my mom went to an Olive Garden to have dinner, and then there was a bunch of Americans, probably like from corporate or just a group of friends. I don't know. They were so loud, like the whole restaurant was just echoing with their laughs, and it was so strange to me. Like, that's not how we behave in a restaurant.
Absolutely, you're right. And if you walk by the Hungarian or the bilingual teachers room as well, you will hear all us teachers. Yes. So we are loud. I definitely agree with that.
Would you say that you adapted Hungarian lifestyle since you moved here?
In some ways. Yeah, in some ways I think so. I haven't learned the language. I think we can all agree that that's extremely difficult.
Definitely.
No, but I think that's part of living in another culture and living in a different country, is trying to integrate and enjoying those differences, the cultural differences and things. So trying to integrate and be Hungarian, that's I love it, man.
And do you plan on moving out of Hungary, or right now you are just comfortable here, you don't want to really move?
Yeah, no, we're comfortable here, and actually my wife and I are applying to get permanent residency as well. So we're in the process of being here and being long term.
That's really interesting. That's really good though. So you have a fixed place right now.
So far.
So how are you adjusting to the Hungarian education system? Of course, you have been here for a long time, but it's probably so different than from the Marrakesh education system or the United States one.
Actually, not really. Not much different than, of course, the American system. The Moroccan system is under a French system, and it's a little bit different. But as far as an American system, I'm an English teacher, so I don't have a co-teacher. I don't have those things. So I go in and I teach how I want to teach, which is how I learned, which is through an American system. But also what I did is I took a lot of what I did is I analyzed before I became a teacher, and I said, what teachers did I like and what teachers did I not like, and then so I always try to pattern my teaching style on that as well. So like, so I picked all the characteristics of a teacher that I liked, and then ones I didn't like. So I brought that into a classroom. So my classroom itself is more of an American style classroom. But I do teach music, I do teach art, I do teach those things with a co-teacher, and I really haven't had any challenges. I mean, art is art, music is music at the end of the day. I mean, what somebody likes musically, you know, the other person might not like. So yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's what I think is interesting. So there is only the only bilingual teacher. She's not really bilingual, but the only teacher who teaches bilingual kids history is Bánhegyi Anna, or Anna Bánhegyi.
Yeah.
And that's interesting to me because, I mean, is she the only one who can translate Hungarian words into English? But I don't know. Is there any other history teachers?
There's a couple. I don't want to say history
really?
teachers, but there's a couple other teachers that do know Hungarian. I'm not going to say any names.
Yeah,
though.
no. That's not what I wanted to.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the thing, is like we're like kind of keep it a secret for the ones that do know.
Yeah.
But also I had the same thing when I was teaching, let's say in Mexico. I speak Spanish.
Yeah.
So I try to put that front that I did not tell the students that I knew Spanish. Just because I knew that they would automatically just go back to the Spanish.
Yes.
They would just go because it was the easiest and most comfortable, and I wanted to make sure that they had that illusion that I did not speak Spanish.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's not what I wanted to name names.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Because I just never, I only knew Anna Bánhegyi, and so that's what I associated with. But that's so interesting to me. Also, So for those who don't know, how does this whole bilingual program work, and why do you think it's a great chance for kids to learn?
Well, how does it work? Okay, so bilingual I would consider more of a service provider. So what they do is they recruit native speakers from Canada or South Africa or the United States, or wherever they speak English, right? And they bring them in, and so what they do is they put them in a position to be successful. So they take care of some of the things like housing and things like that. So when they get off the airplane, they feel like that they're walking right into home, which is very helpful. Because that is hard when you're moving to a different country, finding a place to live and getting your electricity turned on, internet in your house. That's challenging. So they help that way. But what they do is the service provider portion of it is them sending teachers out to schools, these native teachers. And of course, we have a bilingual system, which is a CLIL system, which is the two teachers at the same time in the classroom, kind of doing a ping pong back and forth and stuff. Europa is the only high school that we have. So a lot of our schools are either kindergartens, middle schools, and elementary schools. And so that's basically how it is. It's providing schools with native English-speaking teachers, and that's how it works basically.
And how, so like for me it makes a really big difference that I have native speakers. So if one Hungarian teacher would just stand up and started speaking English and the other one continued speaking Hungarian, that would not make really a difference, because having you guys because we can only communicate in English, that really forces us to learn different things, and basically that just helps us with our English. But how do you like so what are your thoughts about this system? You can say negative.
No, I mean I mean at the end we want teachers to go in there, we want them to be we do want them to speak the native language. And you're right, I mean when you're forced to learn that and speak that native language or that language, I mean that's what it is. It's that repetition. And so when I see students that are being successful in class, their Cambridge scores are increasing and all those kind of things, they like to automatically look at the English teacher, right? There's the English teacher. Well, but I always say, no, you have to give. They're getting biology in English. They're getting mathematics in English. They're getting art in English. They're getting music in English. They're getting all these other history in English. They're getting all these other classes in English. So the success in their English is based on all of these other components at the same time.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting system to say the least. But why do you think there are not any more? So you said Europa is only the only high school that uses bilingual, but why don't you think others implement this? I mean, it's a great teaching technique.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I think that they probably are reaching out, and I think that this.
Yeah.
I think Europa is not going to be the only high school shortly. But no, I mean, you have to start somewhere, and I think starting at Europa was a great idea.
Yeah, it's a really widely known school, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when I started in bilingual, when I started here a year ago, my relatives came to me. They were like, "How are you doing that? Like, how do you study in English?" I mean, and then I said to them, "It's not that different. It's I need to learn certain vocabulary, but it's really not that different." And what I noticed that was my English it went from being like here, and it's growing.
Yeah,
so
of course.
It's really great, I think.
Yeah, that daily practice, you're practicing it hours every day, really.
Definitely.
You're listening to it in almost all your classes, and all of those things, I mean, they all contribute to your English and being successful in speaking English.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you, Hunter, for accepting our invitation, and I really enjoyed this conversation. How about you?
Laura, thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. It's always a pleasure to see you, and thank you very much for having me come in and take some time sharing what kind of stuff I've been through.
Yes, thank you very much. And for you, thank you so much for paying attention to us and listening to this. And if you liked it, then, just press the like button. That's
click the like button, click the subscribe button, that bell so you get notifications. Click it.
Do as he says. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.